Have you ever sat across from a finance manager, felt good about the monthly payment you landed on, and driven home thinking you made a smart decision, only to have a completely different feeling 3 years later when you looked up your own car's trade-in value? That gap between how good the purchase felt on day one and how expensive it turns out to be by year 3 is not random. It is the single most predictable pattern in the entire auto industry, and almost nobody shops for it. If you are about to buy a new SUV in the next few months, there is a number hiding inside that purchase that has almost nothing to do with the sticker price. It's not on the window sticker, your salesperson will never bring it up, and it's going to cost you somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000 if you get it wrong. Not because of a bad loan, not because of a bad negotiation, because of what happens to that vehicle in the 5 years after you drive it off the lot. Here's the uncomfortable truth about car ownership. The purchase price is just the entry fee. The real cost of a vehicle is built from 5 things stacked on top of each other: how fast it loses value, how often it breaks, how much those repairs cost when it does, what you pay every month to insure it, and what kind of fuel it demands every single week. Most buyers research none of this. They compare monthly payments, they compare styling, and then 2 or 3 years later they are stunned by a trade-in offer that's thousands of dollars lower than they expected, or a repair bill that shows up out of nowhere, or an insurance renewal that jumps for no obvious reason. That's not bad luck, that's math that was always going to happen. It was just hidden from you at the moment you signed. So today we're doing something different. We pulled real depreciation data from IC Cars, which tracked nearly 1 million 5-year-old vehicles sold between last spring and this year, to see exactly how much value each model actually loses. We cross-checked reliability and real repair costs using RepairPal's database, which tracks the frequency, severity, and dollar cost of unscheduled repairs across hundreds of models. We layered in current insurance cost research from sources like carinsurance.com, MoneyGeek, and Bankrate to see which vehicles actually cost less to protect. And we checked EPA fuel economy ratings to confirm which of these vehicles avoid the premium fuel penalty that quietly taxes so many SUV owners every single week at the pump. 5 vehicles kept showing up over and over on the right side of every single one of those numbers. These are the cars that are quietly built to protect your wallet instead of draining it. Stick around because number 1 on this list has the best value retention of almost any SUV sold in America, and most buyers walk right past it on the lot without a second look. Here's something most car shopping guides will never tell you, because most of them are written to sell you a car, not protect your money. Brand reputation and actual ownership cost are not the same, and they frequently disagree with each other. A name can feel premium while the resale numbers behind it are quietly brutal, and a name can feel ordinary while the numbers behind it are some of the best in the entire industry. The only way to tell the difference is to stop trusting the badge and start trusting the depreciation curve, the repair cost database, and the insurance survey. That's exactly what we did to build this list, and it's why a couple of these picks are going to surprise you. Before we get into it, if you're the kind of person who actually wants to know what a car costs you 5 years from now, instead of just what it costs you this month, go ahead and hit subscribe. This channel exists to keep that hidden second price tag from ever surprising you again. Number 5 is the Honda CR-V, and I understand if that sounds boring. It's the SUV equivalent of wallpaper. It's in every parking lot, every school pickup line, every grocery store in the country. But here's the thing about boring. Boring is exactly what protects your money. According to RepairPal's reliability data, the CR-V carries a rating of 4.5 out of 5.0, ranking it second out of 26 compact SUVs. Its average annual repair cost sits at just $407, compared with the industry-wide average of $652 across all vehicles. That's not a rounding error, that's roughly $250 a year staying in your pocket instead of a mechanic's, and over a typical 5-year ownership window, that gap alone is well over $1,000 in avoided repair costs. Then there's depreciation. The IC Cars study puts the CR-V's 5-year value loss at 28.9%, translating to an average dollar loss of about $8,900. Compare that to the overall market average loss of over $16,500, and you're looking at a vehicle that protects roughly $7,600 $600 more of its original price than the typical car on the road. The CR-V Hybrid also returns up to 43 miles per gallon in the city on regular unleaded gasoline, no premium required, which quietly saves you real money every single week without you ever thinking about it. On top of that, multiple 2026 insurance studies, including CarInsurance.com's annual SUV analysis, consistently rank the CR-V among the cheapest SUVs in America to insure. Nothing about the CR-V is exciting, that's the entire point. Exciting is expensive, boring is how you keep your money. Add up the depreciation gap and the repair cost gap together over a 5-year ownership window, and you're looking at close to $9,000 of protected value compared with the average vehicle on the road, before insurance savings are even factored in. That's real money that never leaves your pocket, and you never had to think about it once.
Number 4 is the Subaru Crosstrek, and the assumption most people make here is that it is the budget option, the smaller, cheaper feeling choice you settle for. Here is where that assumption falls apart. RepairPal actually ranks the Crosstrek first out of 26 compact SUVs for reliability, with a 4.5 out of 5.0 rating and an average annual repair cost of just $492, below both the segment average and the overall industry average. Owners bring it in for unscheduled repairs a fraction as often as the average vehicle on the road. On depreciation, the Crosstrek loses 29.1% of its value over 5 years, an average dollar loss of about $7,900, again thousands of dollars better than the industry average. It runs on regular 87-octane gasoline, and the standard Boxer engine returns a real-world combined figure in the low 30s, respectable for a vehicle that comes with standard all-wheel drive at no extra charge, a feature plenty of competitors upsell you into a pricier trim to get. But here's the kicker. CarInsurance.com's 2026 data analysis names the Crosstrek the single cheapest SUV in the entire country to insure, full stop, ahead of every other model in its category. So what looks like the small, humble choice on the lot is actually the vehicle quietly winning on reliability, depreciation, fuel type, and insurance all at once. That's not a downgrade, that's the smart money move most shoppers never even consider. Smart buyers do not chase the vehicle that looks the most impressive in the driveway, they chase the one that is quietly winning every category that actually costs money later, and right now, that's the Crosstrek. Number 3 is the Toyota RAV4, and if you think it made this list just because it's popular, you're missing what's actually happening under the surface. Yes, it's the best-selling SUV in America, but popularity does not automatically protect your money, and in the RAV4's case, the data backs it up independently. RepairPal gives it a 4.0 out of 5.0 reliability rating, third out of 26 compact SUVs with an average annual repair cost of just $429 against that $652 industry average. On paper, Toyota shifting the entire 2026 RAV4 lineup to a hybrid-only powertrain sounds like it could scare off buyers worried about battery costs and complexity down the road. In reality, hybrids as a category are currently the strongest performing segment for value retention in the entire IC Cars study, sitting at an average 5-year depreciation of just 35.4%, while the overall vehicle average sits at 41.8%, and the RAV4 is no exception, losing just 25.2% of its value over 5 years, one of the best figures of any vehicle type on the market, translating to roughly $8,800 less lost value than the average car. It also runs on ordinary, regular, unleaded gasoline, rated up to 47 miles per gallon in the city, which keeps your weekly fuel bill lower without asking you to pay a premium fuel penalty for it. Insurance is the one place the RAV4 doesn't run away with the category. Data from MoneyGeek puts full coverage at around $2,140 a year, essentially tied with the CR-V, while a separate Insure.com analysis puts the average closer to $2,478. Either way, that's nowhere near the $4,000 plus territory you'll find on many mid-size luxury SUVs. The RAV4 earns its spot on this list the hard way, through the numbers, not just the badge on the hood. Being the most popular choice in America and being a genuinely smart financial choice don't always overlap. Here, for once, they do. Quick pause before we get to the final two, because this is where the list starts to shift from small crossovers into family-size territory, and the mistakes get more expensive. Once you're shopping in the 3-row and mid-size category, the gap between the best and worst options for ownership cost stops being measured in hundreds of dollars and starts being measured in tens of thousands. If this video is actually giving you something useful, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this instead of the fluff most car content pushes out.
Number 2 is the Toyota Highlander Hybrid, and this is where a lot of buyers assume the ownership trap becomes unavoidable. Bigger vehicle, 3 rows, more weight to move around, surely that means bigger bills across the board. Not according to the data. Within IC Car's own segment breakdown, mid-size SUVs lose an average of 47% of their value over 5 years, an average dollar loss of nearly $21,000. The Highlander Hybrid comes in dramatically below that at 34.3% depreciation, and even the combined Highlander and Highlander Hybrid lineup keeps its average dollar loss around $16,500, thousands of dollars better than a typical 3-row competitor. And here is the contrast that makes this real. Look at the Infiniti QX60, a vehicle in the exact same 3-row family SUV category. It depreciates 58.3% over 5 years, an average loss of over $30,000. 2 vehicles, same job, same seating capacity, and one of them quietly costs you $14,000 more in lost value alone by the time you go to sell it. RepairPal backs up the Highlander's case, further rating it 4.0 out of 5.0, 7th out of 26 midsize SUVs, with an average annual repair cost of $489, below both the segment average and the overall vehicle average. The Highlander Hybrid also runs on regular unleaded gasoline and is rated at 35 miles per gallon combined, compared with just 24 for the standard all-wheel drive Highlander, a gap that, according to Kelley Blue Book's own estimate, saves the hybrid buyer roughly $50 a month at the pump. If your family needs 3 rows, the Highlander Hybrid is proof you do not have to accept the ownership trap that usually comes bundled with that extra space. Stack the depreciation gap against the fuel savings, against the lower repair costs, and over 5 years, you are looking at a family SUV that can protect close to $15,000 more of your money than a typical rival in the exact same segment, without asking your family to give up a single seat. And now, number 1. The vehicle that beats almost every other SUV in America at doing the one thing that actually protects your money over time, holding its value. It is the Toyota 4Runner, and most shoppers walk right past it on the lot because it looks old-fashioned, boxy, built for trail duty instead of the school run. Here's what most shoppers do not know. According to IC Cars, the 4Runner posts the lowest 5-year depreciation of any midsize SUV in their entire study, just 25.5%, with an average dollar loss of $10,697. Compare that against the midsize SUV segment average loss of nearly $21,000, and the 4Runner is protecting you roughly $10,100 more than a typical vehicle in its own class. Stack it against something like the Land Rover Discovery, which loses almost $35,000 in the same 5 years, or that Infiniti QX60 we just talked about losing over $30,000, and the gap becomes almost impossible to ignore. On reliability, RepairPal rates the 4Runner 4.0 out of 5.0, 9th out of 26 midsize SUVs, with an average annual repair cost of $514, again below the $652 industry average. And despite looking like the kind of rugged truck-based SUV that usually demands premium fuel, the 4Runner runs on ordinary, regular unleaded across both its gas and hybrid engines. Drive the average 15,000 miles a year, and staying off premium fuel alone saves you somewhere in the range of $450 to $600 annually, compared with SUVs that require it, without costing you a single mile per gallon of the advertised efficiency. Now, to be fair, because this channel does not exist to oversell you, the 4Runner is not the cheapest vehicle on this list to insure. Some insurance studies place it in the higher tier for its segment, likely tied to its body-on-frame construction and repair parts costs for collision claims specifically. But when a vehicle is saving you $10,000 in depreciation alone compared to its own segment average, plus hundreds more every year by simply not needing premium fuel, a few hundred extra dollars a year in insurance premiums doesn't come close to closing that gap. The 4Runner is proof that the vehicles which look the least flashy on a dealer lot are frequently the ones quietly protecting your bank account the most. Everyone else in the parking lot is losing thousands of dollars to depreciation they never accounted for. You are driving away from that exact same math. So here's the lesson underneath all 5 of these picks. The real cost of any car was never the number on the window sticker. It's the 5 years that come after you sign the paperwork. The years where depreciation, repair bills, insurance premiums, and fuel costs quietly decide whether you made a smart purchase or an expensive mistake. Every vehicle on this list, the CR-V, the Crosstrek, the REV4, the Highlander Hybrid, and the 4Runner, earned its place because the actual data, not marketing, not vibes, not a badge on the grill, shows it avoiding the traps that drain thousands of dollars out of the average car owner's pocket. None of them require premium fuel. All of them beat their segment averages on depreciation. All of them rank at or near the top of their category for reliability. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you buy with the full 5-year picture in mind instead of just the monthly payment. Most car buyers will spend more time comparing paint colors than they will comparing 5-year depreciation curves. And that's exactly why the used car market is full of people who feel blindsided by a trade-in offer that doesn't match what they expected. It doesn't have to be you. The data on every one of these 5 vehicles is public. It's sitting on iSeeCars, on RepairPal, on the insurance comparison sites we pulled from tonight. The only thing separating a buyer who avoids the $5,000 to $15,000 mistake from one who walks straight into it is whether they bothered to look before they signed. So tell me in the comments, which one of these 5 are you actually cross-shopping right now? Or is there a car you already own that you wish you had researched this deeply before you signed for it? I read every single comment, and if enough of you are dealing with the second question, that might just be the next video on this channel.